Welcome back to our exploration of the unexplained. The deeper we go into these incredible accounts, the harder they become to dismiss as simple hallucinations. When someone can describe the serial number on a machine they couldn't possibly see, or a conversation held miles away while they were clinically dead, we have to stop and listen. Today, we have 7 more first-person accounts, continuing our series. These stories involve people who saw the tether that connects us to our bodies, witnessed crimes while they were unconscious, and even found objects that shouldn't exist. Here are their stories, in their own words. I suffered a massive heart attack right in the middle of a high-stakes board meeting. As I slumped over the mahogany table, I didn't feel pain. I felt myself lift into the corner of the ceiling. I watched my business partner, my best friend of 20 years, reach into my open briefcase. He didn't call for help first. He grabbed a specific blue folder and hid it in his own laptop bag before screaming for the secretary. When I woke up in the hospital, he was sitting by my bed, acting worried. I just looked at him and said, "Check the side pocket of your bag and give me my folder." He turned ashen. He knew he'd been caught by a dead man. I was swept overboard during a storm, and the weight of my gear was pulling me under. My lungs were screaming. Then suddenly, the water felt warm, and I was 10 feet above the waves. I looked down and saw a shimmering golden thread of light connecting my floating self to the boat's engine. I followed the thread and saw my brother frantically throwing a life ring in the wrong direction. I pushed my consciousness toward him, trying to scream left. He suddenly jerked his head to the left, saw my yellow coat, and threw the ring. The moment my hand touched that rope, I was slammed back into the freezing water. I was practicing a deep breathing exercise when I felt a pop and rose to the ceiling. I found myself hovering inches away from the blades of my ceiling fan. I noticed a small Made in Taiwan sticker on the top side of the blade, the side that faces the ceiling. I even memorized the serial number because it ended in the digits 42. The next day, I got a ladder. The sticker was there, thick with years of dust. There is no physical way I could have seen that sticker from the ground in the 5 years I'd lived there. I hit the ground from heat stroke and felt like I had stepped out of a heavy, hot suit. I was standing in the middle of the trail, but the forest was glowing with a gold aura. I looked down and saw myself face down in the dirt. I felt a weight of pure kindness on my shoulder, and a voice told me, "Look up. The water is 10 yards behind the lightning-scarred oak." I didn't see a person, but I followed the direction. I saw a spring I had missed entirely. I forced myself back into my body, crawled to that exact spot, and found the water. It saved my life. I felt myself lift out of my body during a nap. Looking down, I saw a thin, shimmering thread of light connecting my floating chest to the body on the bed. I flew out through the wall and hovered over the street. I saw my neighbor's dog looking directly at me, or rather, at the empty air where I was, and he started barking hysterically. The neighbor later complained to my wife that her dog went nuts at nothing in the sky at the exact time I was having my experience. I was sitting on a park bench when I suddenly felt light. I was suddenly looking down at the park from 50 feet up. I saw a man behind a distant cluster of bushes drop his wallet while reaching for his phone. I snapped back into my seat, ran to that specific bush, and found the wallet. The man was already a block away and had no idea he'd dropped it. When I caught up to him, he asked how I could have possibly seen it from where I was sitting. I didn't have an answer. During my bypass surgery, the room went bright. I saw my grandfather, who had been dead for a decade, standing by the vitals monitor. He was watching the screen intently. He pointed to a specific red line that was starting to dip toward the bottom. He looked at me and mouthed, "Not yet." The surgeons later told my wife that I had a brief, unexplained crash in my blood pressure. But I snapped back for no apparent reason right as they were about to intervene. That concludes our 21 accounts of the impossible. From corporate theft to life-saving water sources, these stories suggest that our eyes aren't the only way we see the world. Are these moments of the soul leaving the body, or is it something even more mysterious? Let us know which of these 21 stories shook you the most. We'll be pinning the most interesting comment below. Thanks for watching this special series. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a dive into the unknown. I'm your host, and I'll see you in the next one.